Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. Hope you're doing well today. It is March the 24th, 2020, and I hope you are taking care of yourself and looking after each other. I did, a couple videos ago, I had made an invitation that if you have a question, feel free to either post it as a comment, and I'll do my best to answer it that way, or you can email me directly, and since then I've been leaving my email in the description. So if you have a question, I'll do my best to answer it. If I don't know, I am man enough to say I don't know, and if you're somebody that knows me, you'll know that I actually have from time to time said, I don't know. Some people have a real problem saying, I don't know, I don't know why, but anyway, and also too, a couple videos ago, I had mentioned something about noticing a little bit, not much, just a tiny little bit of goodwill out there, that people have been a little bit more thoughtful, a little bit more considerate, a little bit more kind toward me, and I've tried to be that way, of course, toward other people. And the times in my life when somebody does something kind, I usually say, or pretty much all the time say, oh, you're very kind, thank you, or whatever. And I did say something that I had noticed this week. The phrase, I've been saying the phrase, oh, that's so kind, and it's been off the charts. I've said it more this week than I probably said it in any other week since, or before, right? Now, a friend of mine who I've met through this channel, his name is David Boyle, who lives in Ireland, noticed that same thing too, and he mentioned something in a comment about it. Now, I missed a glorious opportunity to come up with a really cool hashtag, because when I was watching the news last night, there's now a new hashtag for it. It's called hashtag Corona Kindness. So I could have made billions of dollars off that, I guess. I'm just kidding. No. Anyway, so I'm not the only one that's noticing it, and I hope that you're noticing it too. It's like goes along with the saying, the old saying that Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world, right? At least we're not dodging bullets out there. It could have gone either way at this point. Now, there is a young man named Abdullah who lives in Iraq, and Abdullah asked me a question a couple of videos ago, and then he posted a comment here, and I'll read it. He didn't ask me a question about this. He's making more of a statement. But my name is Abdullah. I am 21 years old, from Iraq, from the capital Baghdad, from an Islamic background, but I got to know the message of Jesus Christ and accepted it wholeheartedly. The numerical root of the name Maitreya in the Hebrew, Greek, and Arabic languages gives the result 666. Here we go. I.e., the number of the beast or the enemy of the Christ. And this image shows the numerical value of the Hebrew letters and must write each letter with its number and then add the numbers to get the result. And this does not include the last 5 letters of the number 500 and above. Anyway, so then he puts the numerical equation, and it says Maitreya equals 666. Well, Maitreya is not his name. His name is Maitreya. So there you go. To me, that's a stretch, but anyway, whatever. I remember back in the 90s, I had a friend of mine who was totally convinced that Ronald Reagan, the president of the United States, was the Antichrist, because the president's name was Ronald Wilson Reagan, and there's 6 letters in Ronald, 6 letters in Wilson, and 6 letters in Reagan. So he therefore must be the Antichrist. So there you go. I mean, everyone's looking for that Antichrist out there. They've somehow thought just because people like myself think Maitreya is the Christ, then he must be the Antichrist. Although the majority of the people out there don't even know that he's talking on TV. So there you go. Now, it's funny because I will say this, and I'm saying this in a sarcastic kind of joking way, but the times that I've seen Maitreya, he's never once come to me and said, hey, I'm Maitreya, the one I waited about all the world's religions. And then the next year or whatever, when I saw him, was, hey, I look different than the last time, but I'm Maitreya, the one I waited about all the world's religions. And then the next time, oh, wait, I'm Maitreya, the one I waited about all the world's religions. I did, however, and this is true, my daughter, when she was starting middle school, had a teacher, that during the open house introduced herself to every one of the kids and parents. Hi, I'm Miss Dykes, the best teacher you'll ever meet. Hi, I'm Miss Dykes, the best teacher you'll ever meet. Hi, I'm Miss Dykes, the best teacher you'll ever meet. And of course, I'm a little bit of a smart ass, so when it came time for her to introduce herself to me as Miss Dykes, the best teacher you ever meet, I said, hey, I'm Gary Willing, the best dad you ever meet. Yeah, she didn't find that funny at all, but a couple people on the line thought it was funny. But anyway, it is what it is. Yeah. Anyway, so there's another comment I'll read, and this is coming from Aunt Brad, who I have to say is a blast from my channel's past. He had commented a few things before Christmas, and I could tell because he said it quite succinctly that he did not like what I said about Donald Trump at all. Now, I will say this about Donald Trump before I start in what Aunt Brad said. Maitreya told me one time, he goes, never judge anyone on whether they're good he goes, I never judge anyone on whether they're good or bad. I only notice the good things that they do. And I've taken it to heart, and I've really tried to look at the good things that people do and not just criticize them outright, right? Well, Donald Trump, I think, did a good thing the other day. He called North Korea and offered help with this coronavirus. So that's a good thing. That's a little bit of goodwill out there. I told you, we all have it in us, even Donald Trump does. And, I think that, and I've said this before, that I think Donald Trump has always been the personification of the personality of the United States, the American dream. Even back in the 80s and 90s, I had known people when they talked about Donald Trump, like, man, I want that life. I want to live in a tower in New York. I want to make billions of dollars, fly in my own jet, have gold-plated toilets and, have sex with as many women as I want that are Playboy playmates. Like that was their dream. That's what they wanted, right? And now he's president, and he's personifying the personality of the United States, I think, but I could be wrong on this. I've been wrong before, but I'm hoping that he, along with the United States, has a road to Damascus experience with all this and comes to our senses, because I think the world is really waiting on the love nature of the United States to come forth. It happened one time during the, right after World War II, with the Marshall Plan. That was the love nature of the United States for the first time, really. But most of the time, the whole world looks to the United States for leadership and support and guidance, but it's coming from the selfish personality of the United States. So goodwill, according to the masters, is the lowest aspect of love, and these nations will eventually start to exhibit goodwill between one another, and that will be the start of it. And eventually true and lasting peace will happen, and then eventually unity and oneness will happen amongst all the peoples of the world. Now, this next person I'm going to talk, address his comment, Aunt Brad, would definitely not agree with that at all. Now, where is it? I thought I printed everything he said off, but some of it got cut off when I printed it off. But anyway, because he does like to write it all out. And there's a lot of times that Aunt Brad, when he references the Bible, I have to say I agree with him. I don't necessarily, we don't see eye to eye on what that means, but I definitely agree with. Like, one thing he said was, during the end times, good will be seen as evil and evil good. And Isaiah never said the end times. He was just talking about the viewing something as good. And he said, woe is those who see good as evil and evil good. And what I think is evil and what Aunt Brad thinks is good or evil or whatever are two different things. But anyway, right. It says, I mentioned to you before Christmas of an event that is to happen this year where everyone will be affected. This is a time used, not caused by the Lord, for us to reflect. Now, I went back and I read all the things that Aunt Brad wrote and all the comments, and I didn't see anything where he said that he would mention an event that would happen this year where everyone would be affected. But if he did, well, he was right. So anyway, Jesus always chose solitude to pray and reflect on every opportunity. He brought his apostles away from the world to isolate them so they could reflect and gather their thoughts. I could see that. And fasting helped them and, of course, us to evaluate and respect one another and what we have so as not to be caught up in the ways of the world by taking everything for granted. Now, Jesus also did say that, he sent his disciples out in the world as sheep amidst the wolves, right? So we can't just isolate ourselves forever. We do have to get out and help one another. But anyway, all right. The interesting thing about fasting too, I'd read the Dead Sea Scrolls, which talked about Jesus's life, and they were translated from these scrolls that were written thousands of years ago. And Jesus talked about fasting all the time, and especially when people would come with anything from leprosy to dysentery and parasites, he said, go fast, go fast for 40 days. And fasting is truly becoming a way to really heal yourself. Jesus said, physician, heal thyself. Did he not? So anyway, all right, so where is it? For the world is full of selfishness and all kinds of evil. Well, we got to work on your spelling, Mr. Aunt Brad. Evil is spelled E-V-I-L. But yes, the world is full of selfishness and all kinds of evil. But now comes the calm before the storm, because what the Lord is doing in this circumstance is getting us spiritually ready for a battle. No better way than through isolation. The whole world is being called to attention. Reflect. And what comes from that is spiritual growth. I sure hope so, Aunt Brad. I really do hope that spiritual growth comes from this. Absolutely. What lays ahead is a spiritual battle, and this will arm us. Now, he and I would not share the same view on that spiritual battle. I'm sure his view of spiritual battle is the Christians fighting against Maitreya, who they view as the Antichrist. I would say the spiritual battle, if this is true, that the spiritual battle is one of ignorance versus truth, one of selfishness and greed versus unity, one of right and left politics versus unity in our political field, a spiritual battle against hunger, a spiritual battle to save our only planetary home. That's what I would say it is, but whatever. This battle has already started and our souls lay in the balance. Remember, you sought this guy out, I guess he's talking about Maitreya, when you were at your low in your life. You yourself touched on that. No, actually, I never said that I sought Maitreya out. What I did say was when I was performing with the music group The 3 Degrees out of Philadelphia, and we were touring in Japan, people started to ask me for my autograph, and I signed it with a peace sign, a heart, and a happy face, and then I signed my name. And then when I got back to Atlanta, and like I said, this was before I knew anything about Maitreya or any of this stuff, I went to a payphone, and written on the payphone was, in black magic marker, was graffiti that said, to Gary, a heart sign, a peace, and a happy face. It said, still alive and well. There was a cross, and it was signed the Christ. I said it happened during a low point in my life. Low point financially. I was a bit depressed because I couldn't find a musical gig, but I wasn't seeking out Maitreya. Other times that I've seen Maitreya, I wasn't at a low point in my life. He just happened to show up whenever he shows up. This is dangerous, and I'm calling you out on it. Not for your sake, as you're already made your choice. Okay, well, it's F-O-R, not F-I-R. But I'm concerned for those you are obviously trying to convince. Actually, I've never... You didn't even spell convince right. But anyway, I've said over and over again that I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. If I am trying to convince anybody of something, and I'm guilty of trying to convince somebody, I'm trying to convince people that we need to share the world's resources, that we need to help the hungry out there. Jesus said, feed my sheep, did he not? But the sheep is all the hungry in the world. You are being warned of these times of deception and how diabolical work. Anyway, no, actually, I've said over and over again that if you're a Christian or even a fundamentalist Christian, stay that way. Stay what keep believing what you believe. But just be a Christian or a fundamentalist Christian who wants peace. If you're a Muslim, stay a Muslim. But stay a fundamentalist Muslim or a Muslim that wants justice in the world, and so forth and so forth. I've never told people to change their beliefs and believe what I believe. There are a lot of people that don't believe what I believe about this stuff. And so I'm not even claiming any kind of truth about what about this. I'm just stating this as what I see. So we're all left to believe this or see this as true for ourselves, really. So under no circumstances have I ever done that. And I would doubt that Aunt Brad actually took the time to listen to all the videos or to what I'm saying throughout the whole video where I've said that over and over and over again. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. So anyway, but that about says it. But anyway, I just wanted to address some of these comments, and I do thank Aunt Brad and I do thank Abdullah for taking the time to write these comments out, even though I don't necessarily agree with it. I also wanted to say, too, there was something that it didn't print up in my printout, but I will say this. The images that I use of Jesus, which come from a computerized interpretation of the, what's it called? The Shroud of Turin. I mean, you can agree or disagree with it or not. I mean, it's, Jesus is one of the masters, and we'll see Jesus eventually, but, we'll see. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, Aunt Brad and Abdullah and everyone who's listening. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.